The first login page that you will be encountering on logging into your URL is this one. So we will be starting up the Farina by using or putting our credentials into this. Basically, in Farina there are four kinds of login: the admin login, the student login, the parent login, and the employee login. So these kinds of login are does possess a certain set of privileges. The admin has the sole privilege of everything, while the employees have a certain fixed privileges, while the parent and the student have a set of fixed privileges too. Then, so before going to know more about Fedina, we would be logging into the admin login and checking out what all things that can be possibly done using Fedina. So normally the default credentials are to be entered. You can even change the credentials in a later period. So on logging into your credentials, you will be able to see the dashboard of Fedina. So here you need to start up with setting up Fedina in your school by letting the application know more about your institution. So we will be starting up by clicking the settings button and doing the general settings. In general settings, we have a variety of options where we need to put the school or college name followed by the address and the phone number. Student attendance type, whether it's daily or subject wise, are to be entered. Then comes the financial year start date, the end date, the starting receipt number, and the others. We would be knowing in detail of each of the options available here. So when it comes to starting receipt number, it means that the receipt number that has to be followed, the value of the receipt number that has to be followed is to be fixed. So this receipt number would be that we enter here would be coming up with the first receipt that is generated from the application, and the rest of the things would be, and the rest of the numbers of the application of the receipts would be an auto incremented value of the one that you have entered here. Then comes the language option, where you get your freedom, where you get the freedom to select using Fedina in all the available languages that you can see. There the Dutch, English, Espanol, Gallego, Italiano, French, and the others. Then comes the time zone. You need to select the time zone that you are in. Then the country is to be set, the currency type, which would help you to deal with the finance part. Then comes the upload logo. On uploading the logo of the school that you have entered here would be available for you in all the receipts that has to be generated, along with the login page and logout pages. Then comes the grading systems. Please include the grading systems of the school that include the grading systems of the institution that you have been using. If your institution uses CCE, CW, and GPA, then you can click all. This would include all the three kinds of grading systems. Then comes the modal URL part, where if you have a modal URL and you want to integrate the same with the application, then you can just click upon this particular field and you can enter the detail here. Then comes the theme part, where you can select your preferred theme from the available colors here. We have orange, black, green, yellow, blue, and gray as the available ones. Then comes the important parts of the settings part, is the auto incrementation of the student admission number. If you enable this part from the settings, then the student admission number would be an auto incremented number of the one that you have entered for the first time. Supposingly you have entered the auto increment, you have enabled this one and added the student admission number as K001, then the rest of the things, then the rest of the admission numbers would be something like K002, K003, and so on. The same goes with the employee number 2. Then comes the employee news comment moderation, where if you enable this part, you will be allowing other users to comment upon the news that you have put with your permission as admin. Then comes the sibling part. If enabling sibling would help you to keep a track record of all the siblings in your institution. Then comes the first time login change password, where you would be asking the users to log in to change the password for the first time they log in. So this was all about the settings part. Now we will be quickly moving upon to the students category part. So having done this general settings, what is the basic kind of setting that are required, now we need to make the we need to move upon to the next part of the settings called the add student category. The manage student category, you can add different categories for different students. Let us say that you have a batch and you want to categorize students into few categories like local, non-local, staff students, physically handicapped and all. Then you can just go upon to this part, click upon a category, let us say category 1, and click it. This would mean that this particular option would be available while admission of students in the admission icon itself. So every time you want to see the list of students who belong to a particular category, you can do it by custom import and advanced search and all. Then comes the additional student part, add admission additional detail. In add admission additional detail, what we need to do is we just create a different kind of field here. So every time you see Felina, you have a different set of fields that are not there in the admission part, or there are some fields which are required by your institution and are not present in Felina for the admission. Then you can just go to this part and click upon the add admission detail thing and type a name here. Let us say that you want to create a thing called passport number. Let us say passport with if it is mandatory. So this would mean that every student who is to be admitted into the institution has to come across this field, and he will be asked to move forward only when he enters the field. Then there's a variety of input method, be it be text box, text area, checkbox, and select box. So after doing this, you can create the whole thing. Moreover, if you at a point of time, if you want to delete it, you can also delete the same. But please delete the thing before you create students with it. So this would create a dependency issue and you won't be able to delete the whole thing. Next comes the manage course and batch part. Having set all the additional details and the category for the students, you need to start creating courses. To create courses, you need to go to the manage course part. To manage course, you can just click upon new, and in new you can put a course. Let us say you are putting it as class 10th. The code can be the same, class 10th itself, and the grading system type can be normal, GPA, CW, and CC even. Then let us put a batch name for this. Let us say to be 10th B or B 2013. So this would mean that you have created a class called class 10 with the name B 2013. So here you need to create, if you want to create more batches, you can also do so using this new link from here. Moreover, if you want to create new subjects for this particular batch, you can also do so. To do so, you need to just go upon to the manage subject from settings part. Clicking upon manage subjects would give you a page where you have to select your institution, your course, sorry. So this was the course that we have created. Now it's time to create normal subjects for it. So subjects can be of two types, the normal subject and the elective group. If you are creating a normal subject, you can just go upon to add normal subject and click upon the name of the subject. Let us say you are creating a subject called maths, and the weekly subjects can be maximum weekly classes can be up to 4. Please remember to put a code to every subject that you have been creating and hitting the save button at last. We will be creating some more for the sake of convenience here. Now it's time to create a elective group. Let us say that you have a subject which is an elective group, and let us name it to be a foreign language. And again, foreign language elective group, you have different subjects. The subjects can be something like German, again we can put it something like French again, so now you have this your batch created, batch B 2013, where you have your subjects with from which two are normal subjects, that is maths and physics, and a foreign language group in which you have two subjects. This is how you can create subjects into it. But at a later period, regarding the elective subjects, if you have a bunch of students and you want to assign each of the students a particular subject from the elective group, then you can do so by clicking upon to the particular batch again and using the assign student from here. If the students are there in this particular batch, then you will be able to assign the students from here itself. So this is how the subjects can be created and managed efficiently. Now we will be moving upon to the most interesting part of the settings link, that is the SMS module. In SMS module, the first time you see your SMS module, it would look something like this. The first time you will be logging up onto the SMS home, this would the expected view is this one. So again, you need to go to the SMS settings part. You need to enable this from the application and click on update. On updating it, you will get an option of giving a certain SMS settings up here. We call it the general SMS settings. Here we will be going to know each of the things in detail. In student admission, if you click this part, every time student is admitted, an SMS would fly up to the particular student saying that your ward has been admitted to with this user ID and password. The next part that you can see is about the exam schedule and result. If you click this exam schedule or result, every time a schedule is published or a result is published, an SMS would go again to the particular person or to the parent or the student himself. The same goes with the attendance. So we would be sending an SMS to the students who are absent on a particular day, and again the event creation would also send a auto SMS to the parent. The same goes for the SMS to parents, students, and employees also. Now from these links from the SMS homepage, you can even send SMS to the students. To send SMS to a student, just click upon the particular batch and the name of the student, type your SMS and hit send SMS. So once you have done this, you will be able to send SMS to the particular student that you have been longing for, that you want to send SMS to. Our next job is to send SMS to the parents. If you want to send SMS to the parents, you can also do so. And even send SMS to all option helps you to send SMS to all at a go. Again, we have send SMS to employees and the employee departments, wherein employees you will be able to send SMS to particular employees or department, and again in employee departments, the whole department as a whole will be sent a common SMS after you type the SMS and hit send SMS. Now comes the SMS logs, where you can keep a track of all the SMS that has been flying up from your institution and whether they have been in delivered or not can be checked up from by clicking up on each of these rows here. This would say general error, so this would mean that this SMS was about to fly up but it didn't go. So this is how the SMS part is to be dealt up. Next we will be moving upon to the basic part of readiness settings, that is the admission of a student. So to admit a student, you will be clicking upon this particular icon called admission and start upon the procedure of admitting the students. Let us say I am admitting a student called Swikruti to the batch UKGB 2013, and the rest of the part of the information are non-mandatory, so you can opt not to fill each of them. Again we have the settings part here, or the biometric ID. So every student who has a biometric ID has to be entered here, and again enabling SMS features and email features would mean that we are enabling the sending of SMS and email whenever necessary from the application, either via auto sending of SMSs or by manual sending. So the next part would be to save and proceed. So once you have saved and proceed the first step, you will be redirected to the second step where you need to select the sibling of the particular ward. So if the particular person that you are getting admitted into has a sibling, then you can just click upon the name, click upon this field, type the name of the sibling that he says. I get its name called Subham on typing SUBH. So on clicking upon this, all the details of Subham will be copied to this particular person's parent record. So on clicking upon save and proceed, you will be redirected to the next page where the student's admission details are to be filled up. Once you have filled the admission details, you can just go and mark which fee collection date is to be entered for this particular student. So you can assign a particular date, or you can also prefer to skip the same. Then the details, as we have already said that additional details are the details where we enter data or some of the fields which are not there in Fedina, but if you want those, then you can create additional fields for that, and those data for the particular fields that you have created would be stored in the system automatically. So now as these three fields are mandatory, I need to fill up this thing with some dummy data, and hitting the save and button will help me to create the profile of the person that I was trying to create. So here is the profile that we have created called Swikruti with the course UKG and batch B 2013 and admission number AB128. So this is how the admission of the student has to take place. The next part we will be moving upon is to see how the student details can be retrieved from the application. Supposingly you want to retrieve a student data called Subham. So you need to click upon the particular field, type the name of the student, and here comes a link where the possible matches come up, and now you are redirected to a page where the field where the employee profile of Subham is available. But there are some more things that you can do with this. Here's a link called the advanced. So if you want to have a list of all the students who belong to a particular batch or who belong to a particular blood group, then you can do so by clicking upon the particular information, let us say B positive, and search. So this would give me a wide search of all the students who have a blood group of UKG of B positive. This was all about the advanced search. You can use advanced search very efficiently in your institution so that to deal with different kinds of tasks that are available. Now we are moving up on to the HR part. From HR, again, to go to the HR part, you need to go to the dashboard, click upon the particular icon called Human Resources, and on clicking upon this, you will get a home page which would look something like this. To start using the HR part, as it's an obviously we need to do the settings first of all. So to do the settings, you need to click upon the setting part, add the employee categories, add employee position, add employee department, add employee grade, payroll category, and bank detail. So again, to add a different category, you need to click upon this, put a prefix to it, and add it. The same goes up with the position, where you need to select a position from the category that you have created. Then comes the add grade part, where you need to put a grade and put a priority for the particular for the particular priority of that grade, and what does the grade and priority would mean, that what would the maximum periods per day for the persons who are in the particular grade and priority, and the same for particular for maximum period per week is to be entered. So having done this all kinds of settings, you are ready to do the admission part. Again, in add payroll category, you have an option here called add new category. So every time you admit employees into your institution, you need to add categories to it. Let us say that you add a category called category 1, the percentage of 2%, and it is to be a basic pay, and say that if it's not a deduction, then you can do so. So doing this, you can add the payroll category. The bank detail and the additional details can be added. Again, the additional detail would mean the same that we have created for the students also. So as the add payroll category is a very important part, so we would be doing it again. So let us say that you want to add a payroll category for this all your employees called Puja bonus, and which is a percentage of 10% of your basic pay. Having done this, you will be able to create a new category called basic pay, called Puja bonus or basic pay. So every time a student's basic pay is entered, all of the rest things will be calculated, as we have created every item, every category here, which is linked up with the basic pay itself. So this is how you will be creating different categories in your institution. Now we will be moving upon to using the HR part efficiently. After we have done the settings, it's now time to move upon to the employee management. In employee management, we have two fields here called the employee admission and the employee subject association. In employee admission, you have to go across the whole features of adding an employee. Again, to add an employee, you need to type the first name, enter the date of birth for the particular employee, the academics department is selected. So I am admitting an employee who belongs to the academics department. Again, the position has to be entered. as the rest of the things are not mandatory, so we can even plan to skip it. The rest of the things are but can be entered for the sake of information for at a later period, like the user photo, the biometric ID, blood group, nationality, father's name, mother's name, and marital details are to be entered. The home address and the office address are to be entered next, and hitting the save and proceed button would lead me to a page where I need to enter the bank details of the particular employee. Now comes the additional details, where some of the additional details are mandatory, so we need to fill it. The rest of the fields I have left it blank. Now comes the important part of employee admission, called the privileges for Swagat. So if based upon the job that he is assigned, he has to be assigned some privileges. Let us say that Swagat is the person who controls the examination. So examination control, enter result, and view result are the ones that he has to be vested upon. So once we have given these kind of privileges, he would be able to do only examinations and all. So based upon the work that a employee does, so he is given the particular privilege for the particular thing that he has. So giving him the privileges, you can go upon and save the set of privilege that we have given for him. And now you need to select the reporting manager of the particular employee. So unless a reporting manager is not selected for an employee, he won't be able to put or apply for a leave, and so it's very important for an employer to have an employee reporting manager while the time of admission itself. So we would be searching a person called Surya Kumari, and we would be assigning her the reporting manager of this particular employee called Swagat, and saving and proceed would lead me to a next page where I have to enter the basic pay. As discussed earlier, only the entering the basic pay will calculate the rest of the things for me, as I have my configuration set up in the HR setting that everything is done as by calculation by referring to the basic pay itself. So the rest of things are calculated automatically once the basic pay has been entered. So hitting the finish button would give me the profile page of Swagat. So this is the way how an employee has to be admitted into the institution. Now we are moving up to see the rest of the things in the human resources. Again, in the employee management, we have a different link called employee subject association. In employee subject association, what we need to do is we just map the employees to the subjects that they teach for. So again, until and unless this mapping is not done, these employees won't be coming up in options while creating the timetable of a particular batch. So all we need to do is just click upon this particular batch and the subject and assign teachers from different departments to this. So as we can see that this is currently assigned to 3 teachers. So every time I get an option to take a timetable for crafts, I will be getting these 3 persons as the available options here. To do so, just click upon the particular department, assign a particular employee for him. This would make that particular employee mapped with the subject and the batch. So this was all about the employee subject association. Now we will be moving upon to the rest part of the employee HR part, called the employee leave management. In employee leave management, you have 4 types of links where you can add or leave types, see the attendance register, attendance report, and reset leave. In add leave types, all you need to do is just click upon add leave types and add different kinds of leave, whether it is CL or EL or festive leave or miscellaneous leaves. Then you can make a code of it, so that this would be easy to use for the further use. This will be easy to use for in the future. Then comes the maximum leaf count, where you need to add a count for the particular leaf that you have created. Supposingly, if you want to create CL for 10 CLs for employees for a particular period, let us say it is 6 months or 1 year, then you can just go and put the leaf count there even. This is how you create a new leaf types. Moreover, the enable carry forward would mean that the leave balance of this particular period would be carried forward to the next period. So if an employee is absent, has taken 5 casual leaves for this particular period, then the remaining 5 out of 10 casual leaves will be carried forward to the next period of his casual leaves. So once we reset the casual leaves, his leave types of casual leave or CL would be increased to 15 instead of 10, as the carry forward is checked on. Next comes attendance register, where we need to check the employee's attendance here. So if you want to mark an employee as absent here, you can just click upon the particular department and mark the day as absent. Moreover, whenever we are seeing the register, may it be student part or may it be in employee part, please keep in mind that today's date would always be reflected by a yellow column. So as I can see that Wednesday 28 2013 of the month August is being reflected here. Now I need to mark this particular employee as absent for the particular day, so I can do so. To mark Ms. Tilotoma absent, you need to click upon the particular cell, select the casual leave type as casual, and the reason for absence is to be entered next. So this is how you create, you mark a teacher absent for a particular day. Again, the teachers can also apply for a leave, and this leave has to be sanctioned or approved by the particular reporting manager that was created by the time of admission of the particular employee in the institution. So having the reporting manager approve the leave, now the attendance will be automatically marked, and casual leaves will be deducted from, or the particular leave type would be deducted that was preferred. The next part is to see the attendance report, where you need to just select upon the particular department and see the report of all teachers who has taken leaves as per the ones that they are associated with. So as in the list we can see that we have marked Ms. Tilotoma as absent for the particular day. So her CL has been increased to 1 from 0, and as a total she could have only 1 leaves. Next comes the reset leave part. In reset leave we have 4 links called the leave reset settings, reset all, department reset, or individual reset. First of all, we would like to let you know what the reset leave is all about. Supposingly you have different periods for your leave types. So let us say that CL has a period of 6 months, and in every 6 months your leave gets increased by 10. So in leave reset settings, we manage the period of the different leave types that are available in the institution, and we also have something called the enable automatic reset. So, and the begin count date too. In enable automatic reset, every time the period has crossed up, the months that you put up, after every 4 months, this would be automatically reset. Again, in count begin date, the count of reset starts the starting date from where the leave type has been started up is being entered here. This is all about the leave reset settings. Having done this settings, you can reset the employees leave. To reset the employees, for all the employees, just click upon reset all and click reset. This would reset the leave types of all the employees. Then comes the department reset, where the leave types of the whole department will be reset, and the same goes for the individual reset also, where if you want to reset the leave types of particular employee, then you can also do so by clicking upon this link. Next comes the employee leave man, the create payslip part. In create payslip, you have 4 links here called the select employee, rejected employee, one click payslip generator, and one click payslip revert. So if you want to create payslip for a particular employee, then click upon the particular period, click upon the academics or the department that you feel good, then and the particular employee. So as we can see, the basic pay and other things are already entered, but you want to add another new category like loss of pay, then you can just click upon add new category, write loss of pay, and the amount, let us say to be 2000, and you would mean that it's obviously a deduction. So clicking upon the deduction would mean that whenever you are going to generate the payslip for Gary with employee ID EM0911, so his category, his salary would have a deduction of 2000, as we have changed the category from here itself. The next thing link is to rejected employee. So every time you are generating a payslip, a request goes up to the person who is in charge of the finance part. So the person who is in charge in finance has to reject or approve the payslip of an employee. So if it's approved, salary would be his salary would be the salary would be the transaction will be completed, and but if the payslip is rejected, then the list of all the employees whose payslip is rejected will be showing up in this particular link. So again, in this particular department, we do not have an employee whose payslip has been rejected yet. So otherwise, you would be able to see the list of all the persons whose payslip has been rejected. The next part is to see the one-click payslip generator. Using this, you will be able to generate the payslip of all the employees at a go for a particular date. Again, if you feel that it's a mistake that you have done, you are always welcome to do so by using the one-click payslip revert, where you can revert the payslip created just before now. This was how you are dealing up with the create payslip part. Now we will moving upon to watch how the employee search works. Again, employee search, we have a search bar where you need to just type upon the particular employee name. Let us say to be Surya. Or if you want to have an advanced search of the employee, then you can click upon advanced and type the name of the employee or the employee number. So this will give you a view which is similar to the advanced search available in the student search, detailed search also. So this is how the employee search is to be dealt up with. Next comes the employee payslip. In employee payslip, you can view the payslips of all the employees. Let us say you have somebody from the department academics, and the month is August 2013. You want to view the payslips of all the employees. Just click upon the view by selecting the department and the month, and you will be able to view the payslip of all the employees of this particular department for this particular month. In the meanwhile, we will be seeing upon how the rest part of the human resources works. See, from the list that we have been talking about, you will be getting a list of all the persons who has been approved salary for this particular month. This is how the department payslip can be viewed up. Next, we will be moving upon to the rest part of the thing called the finance. In finance, you have a variety of options. To know more about it, you click upon finance from the more menu, and which would give you a page where you will be able to see these many links, the fees, category, and transactions. Now we are moving upon each of these things in detail. Just click upon fees and you will be able to see a link called create fees. This helps you to manage the fees right from the creation of fees, then from the day mentioning the date, managing the collection dates, and then collection and submission. This particular module helps you to have a grip upon of all the fees related things in your system. So to start up with, you need to just click upon create fees and create a master fees. To create a master fee, just click upon create category. Type the name of the category, let us say category 1. The description is to be put up like category 1 again. And please mention the batch for which you are going to create the category for, and then save one. After creating the category, the next job is to create particulars into it. Just click create particulars, type name, name of the particular, let us say we have a particular called academic fees. The description can be academic fees again. Here you have an option of creating the particular via 3 mediums: all, admission number, and student category. If you are creating a particular with all, so all the batches of that particular all the batches for the particular thing that you have selected here would be having this particulars. Moreover, if you want to have different particulars for different persons, then you can just type the name of the admission, click upon the admission number and type the name of the admission numbers are to be entered, separated by commas, and then comes the student category part, where you can have special particulars for special persons in that category. Let us say that if you want to have something else for physically handicapped or the non-local students, then you can just click upon non-local student and mention the category for them too. This is how you can create categories into this particular master fees. The next part is you need to have some discounts for some of the master categories in your system. So to have special discounts for some of the persons in the system, you need to just click upon the create discount part from the master fees homepage and click the discount type. So again in discount type we have 3 things called the batch, student category, and student. The discount type can be, if you want the discount to be affected for the whole batch, then you can click upon batch. If you want the discount type to be affected by for the particular student category, then you can do so. Then if the selected student discount type is to be on a particular student, then you can also do the same by using any of the preferred thing from the drop down list. Let us create a discount for, let us say, discount 1 for the category 1 that you have created. Put in the discount money as 50 and create. So this is the way how you create the fees and discounts and particulars are to be managed. The next thing is to create fee collection dates for the master category that you have created now. To create fee collection date, you can go to the fee collection and click create fee collection from here and select the category. Category 1 is the one that you need to create, and click upon this particular link here. Name the category as category 1, or this fee collection date can also be renamed at a later period. So to click upon to view all the collection dates for all the employees here, you can just click upon the particular batch and click upon the categories that are there. In category 1, you have several discounts called discount 1 here again, and academic fees. And this is the way how you can view the different collection dates. Again, when you have created different categories for it, your job would be to collect the fees from the student. To do so, you can just go to the collect fees. Then you have two options here called the fee submission by course and fee submission for a student. In fee submission by course, you need to click upon fee submission by course and select the batch. Let us see UKGB 2013 and the date, the fee collection date that you have entered. Now comes a list of all the students in the particular batch. So Sandeep is the one that has been high up in the list, so it has came up first. So if you want to pay the fees of Sandeep, you can click upon pay fees. So this is how you can pay the fees. Again, if you want to print the receipt for it, you can click upon print receipt, and here you get a receipt for the fees that was paid right now. The fees can be paid by for a particular course or for a particular student also. The fee structure can be viewed up as I have shown it to you again. Now comes the part of tracking the fee defaulters in your list. To track the fee defaulters, just click upon fee defaulters, select the course, the batch and the collection date, and you will get the list of all the students who are defaulters for a particular collection date. So here is the list of all students who haven't paid the fee collection, the master category as per fee collection date category 1 of UKGB 2013 batch of the course UKG. But every time a collection date is created, you get a link here. You get a dot here on your calendar on the right as a red part, which would mean that fees are due. So every time a fees due date has been created via the fees part, then every person in the application would be able to see that particular date as marked in red. Again, in fees part, we have the fee imports, where you can ask a student to pay from a group of fee collection dates that you have created. Supposingly, you have created different fee collection dates, and you want some of the students to pay not all the fee collection, not all the money that was as per the fee collection date, but you want to make a make him Levite of some of the fee collection dates, then you can just go upon to this fee imports part and click upon the particular fee collection date, year start, August collection, August 5, and category 1 have been unchecked. The only one that was being checked up was year start for this particular student Abhishek, and assign. On assigning this, I would be able to see that Abhishek would be coming up in the defaulters list of only year start if he hasn't paid it yet. But when we are seeing the defaulters list of the rest of the collection dates for this particular batch, then you won't find the name of Abhishek here. So this is how the fee collection date, the fee imports work. Next part is the instant fees, where you can create, manage and pay the instant fees. This would be coming in handy in places where you want to raise a fund from the students for a special purpose. Then you can just click upon manage instant fee, type the name of the instant fee that you want to create, put categories and particulars into it. Having put particulars into the particular category, you can ask the students to pay for it. Again, to pay fees for instant fees, you click upon manage pay fee, type the name of the student, select the category here, and pay fees. Again, the payment mode can be of these four different types: cash, on payment, check, DD, and others. So you can even add these payment notes like the check. The DD number can be put up in payment notes, and clicking upon pay fees would give you they'll give you a option to print the receipt. So again, on printing a receipt, you would be able to get the receipt that was paid from the student, that was received from the student. This was all about the HR and the finance category. Now we would be moving upon to know more about the timetable and attendance in detail. In timetable part, on clicking upon timetable, you come across these many icons, these many links. So you need to start up with creating the weekdays first of all. To create weekdays, you click upon these particular weekdays, and you will be able to get the list of all those days for which the weekdays are to be set. Moreover, these weekdays can be set up as common, as specific for some of the applications also. Again, to click save, you will be getting a weekdays. Your application will be saving the weekdays for it. After having set the create weekdays, your work is to set class timings. In set class timings, you need to set class timing set. You can make class timing sets or use the default one. So to make class timing set, all you have to do is just click upon class timing sets, select the new button. Let us say that you want to put a class timing set as class timing set 3, and hitting the submit button would create a class timing set 3 for you. Again, the set is created, but you would also need to add different periods to your class timing set. So to do so, you need to click upon class timings for the particular class timing set that you have created, and now you can go on adding different periods for it. Let us say that I'm putting 2 to 3 periods here. Period 1, whose start time would be 10 and end time would be something around 12, and save. I would be creating another period called period 2. Period 2. Period 2 would last from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock would mean 16 here, and 1 o'clock would mean 13 here, and hitting the save button would mean that we have created 2 different periods for this class timing set 3. So as we create a different class timing set, so we will be clicking upon this class timing set 3, and on clicking class timing set 3 we are able to see this particular page. So all we need to do is just click upon this particular batch for which we need to change the timetables for. Supposingly I am interested in changing the class timing set of class 10B 2013, so I will be clicking the same and using the arrow button here. So this would mean that from the available batches I have assigned the batch class 10B 2013 the class timing 3. So my structure of timetable will follow the class timing set 3 whenever I create a timetable for the same. So let us say that I want to create a timetable for a particular time period, say 25/10/2013 to 28/10/2013 to 30/10/2031. This would create a timetable for me for the particular period, and now it's time to select the batch for which the timetable is to be generated. So on clicking 10/2013 I get my structure, and as the employee subject registration is not done, so you won't be able to see the teachers for different subjects that you have created here, but we have a different batch where this thing is already done. So we will be quickly moving upon the particular batch and assign students for them. So if you want to create a timetable at a go, you can just select upon the particular cells, select the subject. So this would mean that all the cells that we have selected, you have made Sir Anthony teach maths for this particular time that you have allotted for. Now you get a notification here called the weekly subject limit reached. So as per while creating the subject maths for this particular batch, we have said that maths cannot be taught for more than four classes for a week. So we get a notification here even. But if you want to overdo the thing, you can just go to the continue part and click it. So this way you would be getting a list of all the students. You will be able to set the timetable efficiently. So this is how timetable can be created. Now we will be moving upon to the work allotment and the view timetables. In work allotment part, we have here these many options. So in work allotment for each of these batches that we have created here, we have different subjects called the one that you can see here in the list. So for each of the subjects we have a set of teachers who can teach for this particular subjects. So once you are allotting this particular persons these all subjects for these batches, you would be able to see what are the deficit and what are the remaining batches for the each of the employees. So as in the option you can see that Anthony has 28 deficit, which would mean that Anthony was having 28 less classes, and Tiltama was having, sorry, Anthony was having 28 more classes than he's allotted for, and then Tiltama was having 25 more classes than she was allotted for. And while it comes to Laxman, that you can see here, Laxman is having 10 classes more remaining. So when you allot Laxman some of the classes, then you would be able to know that his status would be okay, like the one that you can see in Junior Kusuri Kumari map. So this is how the work allotment is should be treated up with. Next we're moving up to know more about the rest of the things in timetable, called the edit timetable and the view timetable. Supposingly you want to edit a timetable, you can just click upon edit timetable and click the timetable that you want to edit for and edit entries. Again, in edit entries we have this batch here, and on clicking upon this batch you get the user structure that is preferred for this particular batch, and you can edit the entries for the same. Now we have finished up with the timetable. View timetable is to be finished up. If you want to view the timetable, you can also do so by clicking upon the view timetable for the particular time. Again, the teacher's timetable can be viewed up. Let us say that you want to know the timetable of a particular period of a particular employee. So Anton Tiltman and Shala are busy from 27 July to 31 July for this particular period, teaching this all. So this was all about the timetable. Now we will be quickly cruising upon the examination part. Again, examination part, you need to do the settings first of all. The settings would mean that you need to set up the grading levels, the ranking levels, and the class designations. To set up the grading levels, ranking levels, and the class designations, you can just go upon set grading levels, add grades to this particular institution as common. Moreover, this grading levels can be made specific to a particular batch also. So if you want to add grades in using any of the cases, you can just go upon and select add grades. On selecting add grades, you get this light box where you need to fill the name of the grade, may be O, A, E and up to F, the description and the credit points that you want to take it. So this is how you create grades. The next job is to add ranking levels to it. In ranking levels, you have the freedom to have different criteria for students to come under a particular ranking level. Let us say that you have a ranking level called failed. So in failed we have this criteria which would mean that all the students who have scored 40% marks in at least two subjects, who have crossed at max 40% marks in at least two subjects would be classified under failed. So similarly, you can create different ranking levels like passed and detained for the rest of the things. The next part is to make the class designations. The class designations are the simplest ones, like the ranking levels, but except the fact that you don't have the percentage, but you have a different set of designations that are to be set for a particular employee, for a particular batch. Let us say you have selected class 10 here, or the batch that you have created is, let us say we put it as UKGB. So yes, if we have some data here. So again in UKG, you could name a class designation like first, second, and third, and failed. So every time a person scores a particular range of marks, you would be coming under that particular designation. So this is all about the designations part. Now having created this, we would moving upon to do the rest of the parts in the exam. So in exams, again we have the option to create different exams. Let us say it would be exam management, and I am selecting and if I want to create a different examination for a particular batch, all I need to do is just click upon the particular course, select the batch, and create new exam for it. If I want to create a new exam for a particular course, all I need to do is just click upon the particular batch here from the exam management, type the name of the exam and click save. On clicking save, and to put a maximum marks here, again a minimum marks here, put the standard time. In this creation of exam management, you need to put the start time and the end time of all the examinations. So this would mean that every time you see the calendar, this would be reflected there even. Moreover, Moreover, you have an option of creating no exams. Supposingly for a subject you do not want to create an exam like PT and all, but those subjects are obviously needed while creating the timetable like games period. So for those subjects which would be coming up here, they would be being showcased here. So you can always do not create exam. Moreover, if you know it from the beforehand, as these subjects won't be asked to create exams, you can also do so by creating the subject itself. So having created all start time and end time, you can just click upon save changes. This would create an exam for all of the students. Now you need to just click upon the publish exam schedule. As the exam schedule has been done, now it's duty for the admin on the admin part to inform this to the rest of the students. So we need to click upon exam schedule here. So on clicking exam schedule will be published to the students. The next part is to having the examination done. You need to click upon the examination and enter marks in each of these subjects. To enter marks, just click upon the subject here, enter marks for each of the subjects, and hit the save button. So this would create marks for each of the students in this particular batch for this particular exams. Again, at a point of time you would like to connect the exams. So in a general case, we do not consider all the examinations that are considered for the whole year, for the batch for the whole year. Rather, we have a different type of calculation, a different type of weightage for each of the examinations. So to do so, you need to just connect exams from continuous part. 30 unit test 1, unit test 2 are to be given different weightages, and having done these weightages, you need to ensure that the sum of all of this would be 100, otherwise the system won't be able to accept it. And hitting the save button would give you the current exam part. So this was the way how you need to create exams, enter marks, connect the exams, and publish the results. So again, to publish result, you can just click upon this particular exam here and click publish exam result. So this would mean that you have entered the marks, and the next job is to do the report generation. Only after the report generation, the student would be able to see the marks in their own profile page or in their own user account. The exam generate reports is the one that is to be followed after publishing of exams results. Then you can just click upon the particular course for which exam marks were created, UKG, and generate. So this would create the reports for this particular batches, for all the batches in that particular course. Our next job is to go to the report center and have a look of all the available reports in the institution. In the report center, we have different types of reports called exam wise report, where you can just select upon the particular batch, the exam group. Let us say we have an exam group here called the unit test 1, and you want to know the result of the students for the particular exam. Then you can just go upon the select the particular exam, and you will get a statistical as well as the graphical comparison of the same. Here the red ones would mean the marks of the student, and the gray ones would mean the class average. So a graphical approach is being covered up here. Next, in the report center, we have subject wise report, where you will be able to take reports of exams, of all the exams for the batch for all the subjects. Then we have grouped exam reports for all the group exams that you have created. You will be able to see the reports, statistical again, and graphical report of the same. The same goes for the other reports that are being available in the list here. So this is how the examinations are to be dealt up with. The next part of the session is to have a look upon the news creation and the event creation of the application. In news creation, if you want to create a news, you can just click upon the news from the more menu and search the news called badminton and add it. Let us say that I want to create a new news called Indian Badminton League. I can put some content here and publish the news. So this would mean that every person who will be able to see FEDINA from the dashboard will have this thing on the dashboard itself. It would mean the Indian Badminton League posted on August 28, that's today. Moreover, if you have enabled the news comment moderation from the channel settings part, you will be able to see the news comment. You will be able to see every comment that was being posted by the admin. Only after the admin has approved all the comments, that would be available for viewing for the rest of the users. Then comes the event creation part, where you can create the events like started. After entering the started and end date, you give a title here for the event creation. I name it the annual function. The description can be put up as something chunk data, and you can put it as an holiday and even common to all. If the event is common to all, you won't be asked further to confirm. You will be asked further to confirm it, and confirming it would mean that this event has been confirmed. Moreover, at a later period, before confirming, you can have a look upon all the other events here. So here you are able to see that there is some kind of exams for the day, so you can even plan to abort the plan. But this is how the news and the events can be tracked upon. So this was all about today's webinar on the core modules. Now we would be dealing up with the queries.